Hey, Hart fans! My name is Butch Hartman. It kind of sounds like the same thing. Anyway, that really hurt. Hey guys, how's it going? Yes, that's true. Butch Hartman, Cartoon Network. How does that work? What does that mean? What is the meaning of that sentence? Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means that, yes, before I got to Nickelodeon after 20 years, you can watch the video of me leaving Nickelodeon where I explain it. We have a link here somewhere up around. But check that out. But I did work at Cartoon Network before I got to Nickelodeon. I started working at Cartoon Network before it became Cartoon Network. It wasn't even called Cartoon Network at the time. It was called Hanna-Barbera Studios. You guys know Hanna-Barbera, right? If you guys are cartoon fans and cartoon nerds like I am, you know all about Hanna-Barbera. They're the studio that made the Flintstones and Space Ghost, and there's the Jetsons, there's Huckleberry Hound, there's Yogi Bear, there's the Hair Bear Bunch, Top Cat, all these amazing cartoons from the 1960s, the cartoons that I grew up with, and in the 1970s too. They made the Super Friends, they made the Harlem Globetrotters cartoon, they made pretty much, oh, and Scooby-Doo. Let's not forget Scooby-Doo. Ruby-Roo! Don't forget about that cartoon as well. The Scooby Snack was made at Hanna-Barbera. That's right. I could go for a Scooby Snack right about now. We have any Scooby Snacks around here? Nothing? So I get there and I'm working at Hanna-Barbera, and the first show they put me on is Fish Police. What? I know. Yes, I know it sounds like an amazing idea for a show. Fish that are cops? Come on. We should really remake that, actually. But anyway, I worked on storyboards for Fish Police. It was an animated TV show for prime time. There was another TV show they were doing for prime time at the time called Capital Critters, and it was about these animals in Washington, D.C. Nothing better than animated animals and politics, I always say, because kids love politics. And I'm kind of just there doing my storyboard thing, and I'm like, there's got to be something more. There must be something more to this. There has to be something more to this studio I'm working at. So then they put me on a show called Tom and Jerry Kids. That's right. If you thought Fish Police was funny, Tom and Jerry Kids. We take Tom and Jerry and we make them kids. Because back then in the late 80s, early 90s, there were a lot of shows based on famous properties, making them into babies. Muppet Babies is the culprit. If you don't like this video, it's because of Muppet Babies. You can blame Muppet Babies for a lot of things. So anyway, Muppet Babies causes this big craze. We're gonna make animals into little babies, so they take Tom and Jerry, make them into kids. I start working on that show as a prop designer. Basically, if Tom picks up a salt shaker, I draw the salt shaker. If Tom picks up a hammer, I draw the hammer. I'm just saying, you guys get it, right? That's what I do. That's what I'm doing. That's Butch Hartman. And then they put me on the character designs on that show for a little bit. And then I was on another show called Droopy Master Detective. You know, the character Droopy, hello everybody, he talks like this, and he was so popular in the 1940s, they decided to make him a master detective in the 1990s. So I worked on that show as well, as a prop designer and a character designer. And I would always get my work done so fast that I would pretty much, they'd give me a list of things to do on Monday. I'd have the whole week to do them. But I was such a fast artist, I get them all done, get them all approved by like Tuesday, and I would just do my own stuff for the rest of the week. I read a lot of books too at the time. There was no internet. Imagine this, a world with no internet, no phone. So I finished working on those shows, and then one day they tell us, hey, we want you guys to come down to the parking lot. And I'm like, okay. So the whole studio goes down to the parking lot. We're in the parking lot, standing outside, and the richest man in the world walks up. Richest man in the world at the time, or one of the richest men in the world at the time, comes into the parking lot, and he's on a big platform with a podium, and it's Ted Turner. If you've never heard of Ted Turner, you should have, because he owns the Turner Broadcasting Network. They own CNN, a lot of things you've heard of. So Ted Turner's there, and it's kind of amazing. He was kind of a big celebrity back then. So he's standing there, and he announces that Ted Turner Networks has just bought Hanna-Barbera. And they're going to be turning it into this magical place called, drumroll, Cartoon Network. That's right. So they're going to take over the entire Hanna-Barbera library and meld it into this thing called Cartoon Network. And they're going to start making original productions there, original cartoons for kids, right? So that's pretty amazing. And this is Cartoon Network now, before Adventure Time, before Teen Titans Go, long time ago. This is like in the 90s. So we're all standing there like, wow, we get to make original cartoons now. That's interesting, because back then, you have to understand something. You couldn't just walk into a studio and make your own cartoon. You always had to work on someone else's show. So now we're all excited. We all have the chance to make our own cartoons now. And so they hired a guy named Fred Seibert who you can see his name as the exec producer on Fairly Odd Parents. Fred came in to run the new Cartoon Network / Hanna-Barbera company now. So Fred starts taking pitches from all of us. And one guy who pitched the show is named Craig McCracken. He pitched a show called Powerpuff Girls. One guy's name was Gendy Tartakovsky, and he pitched a show called Dexter's Laboratory. One guy's name was David Feast, and he pitched a show called Cow and Chicken. One guy's name was Butch Hartman. I pitched a show called Shake and Flick with a couple of my friends. Guess which one didn't get picked up? That's right, my show, Shake and Flick. It was about this dog and a flea who went to ancient Rome. It's kind of interesting. You should check it out. We worked on a show after that called Fish and Chip, and that was about a giant shark and a lynx that worked for the bomb squad. I still think that'd be a great show. I really, really do. I would love to see that made. We made 2 episodes of Fish and Chip, and it was a lot of fun. And so we made that show. Also didn't get picked up for a series. Then I made another short cartoon called Hillbilly Blue about, check it out, you thought Fish Police was awesome. Hillbilly Blue was about a muskrat and a crawdad who go down to Louisiana. There you go. Bam. There's epic entertainment right there. And what was kind of cool though, each show I made, I'd gone to animation school and everything, and I worked in the animation business for a little bit. I never got to make my own film though. I always was assigned little pieces of each film, like do the character design, do the props, maybe do a storyboard here and there, maybe do this, maybe do that. So as I started making films again, and I had to do every single piece of the cartoon, I started realizing, okay, I'm good at this area, but I'm weak in this area. So I tried to make each weak area a lot stronger. So the series that did get picked up at that time, one was Dexter's Laboratory. One day, someone kind of yelled down the hall, hey, can anybody do backgrounds? We're really behind on our background work. And I kind of leaned out of my door like this, did that kind of thing. And I said, hey, I can do backgrounds. And they said, great, we need some background help. So I basically worked on Dexter's Laboratory as a background artist. And it was kind of fun because drawing a laboratory background, I would just kind of, take the wall and just draw lines like little electrodes here and there. And I put like a TV monitor and a vent and like a plug and a pipe, just a mystery pipe coming from nowhere. And whammo, you've got a laboratory background. And so I did that for a while. And then they had me do some storyboards on Dexter's Laboratory. And that was a lot of fun because I not only got to do the storyboard, I got to write the story as well. I don't recommend this for a lot of people, but sometimes it's better to have a script before you do a storyboard. On Dexter's Laboratory, they would give me a sentence, basically. They'd write out a sentence and say, Dexter and Dee Dee go into an anthill with Dexter's invention. And that was it. And then I had to write all the dialogue, come up with the story arc, and I had to do the storyboard as well. So I'm doing the storyboard, writing the dialogue, making sure the story goes, making sure it all wraps up into a nice little 7-minute package. And that was quite a challenge. And then after that, I worked on a show called Cow and Chicken with David Feast. I did some storyboards on that show. I love that style of that show. I think Cow and Chicken's a great looking show. Really funny too. Just what a funny show, and really love David Feast's art style. And then I got to work with Van Partible on a show called Johnny Bravo. Hey, baby! I get to work on that show, and on that show it was really kind of fun because my career at that point kind of got to a little bit of a peak. I started doing writing and directing and storyboarding on Johnny Bravo, and I worked with a guy, what's his name again? Seth MacFarlane? Anyway, I don't know. He's not really going to do anything. You don't worry about his name. I think it's Seth MacFarlane, but he'll never do anything. But anyway, worked with Seth. Great guy. Had a great time writing with Seth. In fact, we wrote a show, one of the Johnny Bravo episodes he and I worked on together. He was a fellow writer. We worked on Johnny Bravo meets Adam West, and that was a lot of fun. So you should check that out if you get a chance to find it somewhere. So fun. Had a great time. And then after that, my career at Cartoon Network kind of came to an end because Johnny Bravo was ending. And it was one of those things where I had to look for a job. And sometimes they say necessity is the mother of invention. So, meaning if you need something, you'll invent something to help you. And at the time, I needed a job. I just had my first daughter, and I knew I needed to, pay the rent and stuff. So I thought I would come up with a show of my own. And I thought this is going to be fun. I already tried to come up with some shows of my own at the time, but this time I thought I'm really going to try a little harder. And so I sat down, I drew a little boy named Timmy Turner and 2 fairy godparents, and the rest is history. So after being at Nickelodeon for many, many years, I decided to try and sell another show to Cartoon Network, and that show ended up being a show called Dynamice. And actually, we made a pilot for Dynamice, which I think you guys will really like. And if you haven't seen it, I can definitely talk more about it in my next video. Do you guys want to hear me talk about Dynamice in the next video, or do you, anything else that I've just talked about? I can talk more about knowing Seth MacFarlane. I can talk more about Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, working on all those early 90s shows, you know, Tom and Jerry Kids, Droopy Master Detective, Fish Police, any of that stuff I could talk about. It'd be great. What do you guys want to hear about in the next video? Let me know down in the comment section below. Or if you have other suggestions for videos, let me know, because we want to make you guys happy here on the Butch Hartman channel. It's kind of like a kitchen. You guys come up, you give me your order, we try and give you back what you want. And we'll probably screw it up at the drive-thru. But don't, you know, that's not just what happens. That's just the law. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, art gives you power. Use it wisely. Hey Heart fans, subscribe here to keep up with me, Danny, Timmy, Dudley, Bunsen, and the NOOG Network, my new app full of cartoons, shows, and games. Download it here. Click over here to watch my most recent video, and here to start a playlist related to this video. Whoa, check out that awesome fan art. To be featured here, use hashtag HeartFanArt and tag me. I'm on every social media platform known to man. Cartoon Butch out. Pencil drop.